along to Monday Sports Live. My name's Ashling O'Reilly.
I'm Budda Mangan.
A massive show in store tonight for the next 45 minutes or so, and we want you all to get involved at home as much as possible. We have a number to text in if you'd like to mention any topics you'd like us to cover, any questions for our guests, or even any guests you think you'd like us to have on. It's 083 165 3499. That's 083 165 3499. And a massive thank you as always to our sponsor, Medell Healthcare and Integro Telecommunications. What a massive weekend of sport. What was your highlight?
Yeah, great weekend of sports. Great to have the National Football League back. It's great to see the boys back out playing again, and lots of sport for us to watch on telly. National Hurling League was very good again this weekend. A lot of contentious decisions by referees in terms of interpreting the rules, but we'll talk about that later. Leicester City winning the FA Cup, first time in their history that they've ever won it, and unfortunately Alisson Becker scored a goal for Liverpool.
What a goal. My
Unbelievable,
God.
But it's not great when you're a Man United fan
to
see that happening. But listen, we will cover most topics that we're after mentioning tonight.
We will indeed, definitely. And you're busy yourself. You're out with the Westmeath Hurlers.
Yeah, selected with Westmeath Hurlers this year, doing a bit of coaching with them, along with Shane O'Brien, manager, Noel Larkin and Paddy O'Neill. So really enjoying that at the minute. We had a tough weekend last weekend, but against Galway, got a bit of a trimming. But bounced back again this weekend now with
brilliant result, very competitive.
Yeah, could have got something out of the game. We were definitely well in it the whole way through and ended up losing by 3. But listen, they're All-Ireland finalists from last year and we're playing in Joe McDonagh, so it was a good result for us. Pity we didn't get something out of the game, even a draw would have been nice, but it's stepping stones. So
positives though, I'm sure you took from it. Absolutely,
and a lot of lads stepped up to the plate yesterday, and it's great to bounce back. The bounce back factor of a poor game the week before, and they showed a bit of character.
That's it. It's so hard after such a big defeat and heavy defeat to come out the next day, and really try to say, right, dust yourselves off. You only have a week as well to sort of prepare and get back into it.
Exactly, yeah, but we've 36 or 37 lads on the panel and they're all working hard and bursting their arse, so it's great to see, and they stood up to the plate and fair play to them.
So we have a guest this evening, a massive guest we're very excited about. Do you want to introduce him, Budda?
Yeah, listen, I think everybody in the country knows this man, and it's great to have him on board. I had the pleasure of playing a couple of rounds of golf with him last year, and he's a great character, and welcome to the show, Rory O'Connor, Rory Stories.
How are you folks? Well,
hello, Rory.
getting on, how are things?
Great to have you.
Yeah, pleasure, thank you.
Just getting on to yourself first and foremost, Rory, the videos have been an internet sensation, and I know from talking to you in the couple of rounds that we played that it was something that you really took off during COVID. I know COVID has been a nightmare for a lot of us around the country, but it sort of has been a bit beneficial to you.
Yeah, I suppose with the COVID, everyone was in their houses and everyone was worried and stressed, and on paper my job is to make people laugh, so I just said, listen, give this a lash. Obviously, like most comedians, my stand-up and all was gone, shows, etc. And I suppose there's two ways. You can either sit in your hands or roll up your sleeves. So I just looked at it as an opportunity. And I just made one video back in February of last year of a couple of lads grabbing the local Italian fella and bringing him off and threatening him because he brought in the virus, and just a bit of crack. But just people really enjoyed it, and then it took off, and it led to pretty much a video every day there, especially for the first few months. I thought to myself, I'll work hard for 3 or 4 weeks, make a video, make people laugh, and then I was like, oh jeez, right, will you go away now, COVID, I've enough of you. But it snowballed on for well over a year, listen, it's been positive, it's definitely the most positive feedback I've ever got making the videos, 99% of it is people are enjoying it, and if anything, I really found my niche during COVID, if you get me, with comedy, it's hard to find people, everyone that enjoys what you do, you won't. So I obviously went through the mill of, plenty of online abuse with the videos, etc. And I kind of got through that, and now I kind of have a core audience that I kind of know their humour. And that just makes my job a bit easier because you kind of know what they want. So even some of the videos, and I know people who don't enjoy them will love to hear this, but I wouldn't really find that funny myself. But I know because listen, it's not rocket science comedy, but it's what people enjoy. It's just a relatable video that they know the scenario or they know the person. So I just keep doing it. So yeah, it's just completely blown up during the COVID.
And when you mentioned there just about the online abuse, that's a tough thing that you're putting yourself out there it's also your profession at the same time. Do you find that hard to really manage that?
I'm a lot better now than I was. First few years, you kind of like most human beings, if you don't like it, move on, or you know, why are they, like, you get to know familiar names, like, you know, that constantly creeping up, and that's good because it's just obviously they have a chip on their shoulder. It's just them, like, so. But in the last kind of 2 years, I've been really good that I've kind of looked at it I took a step back, and there's obviously something like in their own life, you know, and that's the same with not just people who would abuse Rory Stories or anyone else online. There's just something that they're not happy and they just want to try and, I suppose, put someone else down is the easy way to put it. So that's what I tell a lot of young people when I do talks and all, is that, you know, people are not going to like it no matter what you do, and just accept that, and don't try and get them to like it, because that's when you're just going to not be yourself. You'll end up trying to please these people and you please no one. So it's something that a tool I've learned is that just more so, instead of annoying me, it genuinely goes in one ear out the other. Now I'm fine with it now. I never respond, I never interact with any negativity, and it's the only way to do it, because you're just feeding them if you could go back in, especially on Twitter. Like, Twitter's a vile place at the best of times, like, you know, for that kind of stuff. So I just ignore it is the only way to do it,
Yeah, just when you're talking about young people, like, it must be so tough, like, for, like, teenagers and that are just growing up with all of this. And, like, we can now say to ourselves, okay, just block it out, and we probably have to learn that the hard way. But it's tough for them to know, like, just when to just say, no, it's not me, it's them.
Yeah, and it is, and, like, you know, when people were bullied in school, like, you know, it finished when you went home, like, but now it's this online, and, like, especially among young girls, they're all trying to be perfect, like, and, like, they're fixing their lips, they're fixing their cheekbones, they're fixing their breasts, whatever. But once you start on that road, it's all insecurity. Like, you're not happy with yourself, and you're looking at these perfect people on Instagram trying to model them, and listen, it's just my own opinion that you're just going down a very dark road, and it's not going to get any brighter. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just being happy and content with who you are originally, like, rather than trying to copy it. But that is the biggest problem facing young people at the minute is image and trying to be perfect, like, you know, which doesn't exist. Like.
No,
but it's also important for the people that are writing in these comments that some of them might be doing it and thinking they're funny and doing it for the crack, but you don't know what's going on at home with other people. You don't know what's going on. Like, you look at the amount of people that are suffering from depression in these days, and they might put something up that they think was quite funny on Twitter, and next thing is to get abused just for the crack, and then you don't know what way that's going to affect them when they go home.
It's massive, like, and, like, I know the whole hashtag be kind, and you know, look, but it is true, like, you know, and it, like, people don't know how close people are to the edge, like, and your one negative, like, whatever it is, online or whatever, might just be the turning point, you know what I mean? And yeah, I feel sad because there's a lot of very talented people that just aren't able for that end of things, like, so they never fulfill their potential. That's what I say to young people in school, is like, don't let the negativity drown your dreams, like, do you know what I mean? That's the way I look at them. Like, listen, like, you just have to learn how to deal with it, because they just don't want to see you be successful, and it's a real Irish thing, maybe, but, you know, the begrudge that's alive and well, and that kind of, and I say to the young people is encourage people rather than say, oh geez, look at your man, and try to bring them down. Who do you think you are better than us and all? And that, like, because in Ireland we're all afraid of what other people think, goes back to Ireland going, what will the neighbours think, that old school, and that has killed a lot of dreams. Like, there's a lot of people who have potential to do whatever they want, but they're just too afraid of people knocking them down, so they never fulfill it, and they take, you know, whatever other road, but they just don't go down that road because they're afraid, and it's sad, like, you know.
And do you think that was a thing with you maybe starting out? Did it stop you from potentially following your dreams at the start, or did you hold back?
Yeah, well, like for me, like, it took me personally to hit rock bottom in 2013 for me to start my comedy, because I struggled with a gambling addiction, etc., and I reached out and I got help, and help was there for me, and I started the comedy kind of from rock bottom, and when you've been to rock bottom, there's not really much lower you can go. So I'd be mentally strong, like, you know, I would, like, and I'm able for that kind of abuse. And like anything, if you don't get it when you do what I do, it means you're not really doing great. Like, that's a fact of it. Like, you have to be getting it, because if you're not doing well, no one gives a shit about you. They're not going to abuse you. Where if you get abuse, it means you're obviously doing well. So haters and trollers are actually a positive in your career, because they wouldn't bother their arse having a dig at you if you're just sitting at home twiddling your thumbs, like,
Doing
you know.
nothing, yeah.
So that's one way of looking at it as well. Well, they're only getting at me because I'm obviously doing something well,
yeah.
but the human brain goes to negative all the time. So if Budda has a great game for Westmeath and he comes into a pub in Westmeath and 9 fellas say, geez buddy, you're unreal, 5 points in play, best I've ever seen you play, and one lad says to me, Jacks, Mangan, I thought you were shy. Who does he think of for the rest of the night?
So true.
Yeah,
a lot of times.
but that's what I'm saying. So like the one person, which is a 10% out of 100, is who you go home to bed and go, maybe that fucker is right, maybe I am useless.
Yeah.
But what about the 9 others that said you were unreal, best footballer Westmeath?
You don't remember them.
No, and that's a psychological thing that we all human beings have to just work on. You know, you just have to work on it.
I remember walking down the fairway and asking you something similar to that, a question, and I remember Rory's reply is, I know myself, I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah.
That was his reply to me. And he said, I'm happy about that. He says, listen, at the end of the day,
no one's going to be.
Exactly.
No one is. You just have to understand that, I suppose.
Loads of players that I think are phenomenal footballers and hurlers, I know some lads that don't think that would question whether they're any good at all or not. And you'd be there going, how can you not think? So, not everybody's going to be everyone's cup of tea, no matter who you are.
No matter if your Mother Teresa people are telling you you're too nice, you know. So no matter what you do, you're going to have people that aren't fond of it, and it's just a matter of blocking that out and doing what you want to do, what your gut feeling tells you to do. That's what you have to do, and just as I said to you, I don't care if people hate me. Couldn't care less, because I know there's a section that do enjoy what you do, and that's who you concentrate on. It's like you should be thinking of the 9 people that said you're a great footballer, not the one bollocks that whispered in your ear saying you're useless. Like, but unfortunately, that's all you hear is your man.
It's the one that plays in your mind. Why does he not think I'm any good?
Yeah.
And so you said you hit rock bottom. Was there a moment then that you turned and made your first video or did your first stand-up that really kicked things off?
Yeah, so 2013 was where I hit my low point, and I asked for help, and I hemmed and hawed, and then I started a Rory Stories blog in 2013 telling stories about myself, and I was hassling everyone, like everyone I knew with any kind of a following on social media, like the likes of Joe Sheridan, Dean Rock, Paddy O'Rourke, Mark Ward, Philly McMahon, anyone I knew who had any, I was like, boys, will you tweet this? Like, I was a bit of a nuisance, but you have to
do that. It's hard to do that.
Yeah, but you have to have a neck in you. You have to be willing to just push the boundaries. And I was like, because I knew deep down, if this gets off, you know, I had a burning desire or a gut feeling to know that I will be where I am now back in 2000. I just had a feeling, like, and it's what I say to young people is, like, you have to trust the gut feeling and believe in it, and don't give yourself a plan B, like, because I believe if you give yourself a plan B, when plan A gets tough, you're going to go back to plan B. Yeah. You know, you're going to take a breath and go, no, this isn't for me, back into the cushion. So I literally didn't give myself plan B and say, this is going to work by hook and by crook. And I didn't know I was going to get into GA videos. I didn't know I was going to, you know, write books. Jesus Christ, I never thought I'd write books. I didn't think I'd be in Vicar Street. I didn't think I'd be in Australia. I didn't think I'd be in Dubai, New York, Boston. I didn't think that, but that's what I'm saying. You can't, if you think that far ahead, you go, oh no, that's not possible, I'm not going to do that. You have to just take each step. It's like it's climbing stairs, and that's what I've done. I just took each kind of step as it came, like. And yes, I fell down the steps a few times, like, do you know what I mean, where things didn't go well, where I had a bad gig in a GA club, or I'd done a few bad videos that got bad traction online, but you just have to just know it will pass, like, and the gut feeling is everything. So for me, I still listen to that, and get outside the comfort zone as much as you can. Like, the comfort zone is no use to anyone, like, just, you know, that feeling of fear, like before a big match or before an exam, get used to that fear.
But it's good.
Get used, that's like, be comfortable being uncomfortable. That's what I'm used to the last few years. It's just, if you don't have that feeling, it means you're sitting still, like, you know, you have to have that feeling, you have to rock on, like, and that's what I believe anyway, like.
Yeah, did you ever have that feeling, going out to a game at Westmeath?
Yeah, plenty of times.
Against me, probably, was it?
No.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about Westmeath media, we don't need to talk about it now. No, but listen, there's going to be times, I remember when I was playing Westmeath, and stupidly you'd click on to the Hug and Stand website and you go to the comments, and next thing you click in a comment saying, how is Alan Mangan on the team?
Yeah.
How is this? And you do let that seep in. You know, it didn't bother me the first 2 or 3 years I was with me. I wasn't playing, I was a sub, and I was only coming on as a sub, so they don't really attack anyone that's coming on as a sub.
Exactly, my point is that because you became a key man, they wanted
and then,
you're starting.
now in fairness, I started to play, it was only when I started to play poorly, 1 year, then I started reading the comments, and the more I read them, the worse I was getting.
Yeah,
And I had
that
to go in. We went in
confidence.
then into 2008, and I remember saying to myself, I need to just stop this. And the league campaign in 2008 was probably one of my better league games throughout any of my career with Westmeath. And it was only because I stopped reading that and just said, listen, just concentrate on my own game, and if I think I play well, great. If no one else thinks I play well, once the manager and selectors thought I was doing okay, I was happy. But I did start reading that, and I advised some of the Westmeath hurler lads not to be looking at it. Because there's only keyboard warriors. Everyone you name, you go down to their name, and one lad's written Stone Mad UK. So he's not going to write his own name on it.
And he might have 400 or 4,000 posts. You know, his job is to go on and he's probably the lad that come up and lick your arse in the pub after. Like, that's the thing about the haters, is like they could be someone you know well, and they just kind of test them. But it's funny how, you know, a lot of, like, there was no real Twitter then, I don't think. Was there? Was a Twitter?
No, that was nearly the only.
So,
And that's lethal.
like, you know, listen, like, I know for me, like, if I was, like, well, not as much GAA because it's still amateur, but if I was a good soccer player in England, or I was a good golfer, I wouldn't my arse have Twitter.
No
like,
way.
not a hope.
No.
If I have Twitter, my manager's looking after it, it's not even on my phone for any advertising or any whatever, you do that, but because you're only human, and even though no matter how mentally strong you are, when you're having your dark days, like say you're low mentally in your head, you'll read them comments and they'll beat the shit out of you mentally. Like, you know, when you're in a good headspace, you'll read them and go, just haters. But if you're in a negative mindset and you go looking for negative, it just spreads like wildfire in your head, like, you know, and you start to believe it then, you know, that kind of way.
But that's where I was. I knew I was playing poorly myself, and I was clicking into these things nearly to try and confirm to myself I was playing poorly. But like, it doesn't matter whether you're a girl, boy, whatever sport you play, or even if it's not just sport, anything that there can be a comment on, you have to realise that the best footballers or hurlers or camogie players or sports stars in the world all get abused.
Everyone does.
Like Brian Fenton, Garage Hegarty, two hurlers and footballers, you can be guaranteed that there's someone out there after slating them in some way, shape or form. But these lads just don't look at it. And you just have to realise, right, cut myself away from that now for a while. And
but everyone, even just, you're not famous, you're just
general life,
general life, young people, whatever you're doing, you'll get abuse. You know, you will. I'd say every one of us here has got something, you know.
There might be something after tonight.
Jeez, don't speak too soon. So will we move on to the action at the weekend?
Yeah, actually the weekend, the first game I looked at over the weekend was Kerry and Galway. I suppose you have to start with David Clifford.
Wow.
This lad is
421 to 11 points it was.
This lad has the capabilities of being the best footballer that this country ever saw. Jeez, he's unbelievable.
He
3-6.
I know.
Last goal was
something else.
I watched it myself, but you're right. He's nearly like a freak, like, you know, and Brian Fenton's another freak as well, to be that kind of big and that mobile and that athletic and that skillful. But like Clifford is literally like moulding the Gooch and Donaghy together, like. You know, he'd be savage in the air, but he'd have that quick. Not that Donaghy obviously great hands now, but he obviously himself wouldn't have the ability Clifford has with ball in hand, like, and just the strike he gets off the left boot, like, is just insane. Like, from any kind of angle he's gone, and he seems to have that tough edge to him as well, where he's not going to be bullied, like, you know, like, I seen there in a few games when he came on the scene, they tried to rattle him. I think it was Monaghan one year, and he just would go away.
Dublin one year as
well. Not me, like, you know, I'm aiming for this. So you're right, he definitely has the potential to be the best of all time, like, you know, the way he's going. And yeah, but you have to mention Galway were fairly poor, like, you know, they were way off the pace. They started great. Damien Coleman got a trademark point, bulldoze his way, and over the bar.
And along the end line.
This is to be a great game, but just like that, Kerry took over, and it was fair. It was over after 20 minutes, really.
Yeah, I think the big thing for me is that Kerry looked like they were bigger and stronger and really fitter.
Yeah.
But I suppose a lot of they're coming back. They would be sore now after losing the semi-final of Cork last year.
That's their first game since Cork.
That's their first game back, and a lot of people were giving out about them. A lot of people thought they might turn over Dublin last year, but it just goes to show if you're looking too far ahead, the pothole in front of you could fall into it.
Yeah, that was a killer. But you're right, they seem already to be a team that But I'm sure they won't, like they'll have Dublin obviously in the radar, but they're not going to have it as much in the radar as they did, because you don't want to, you know, underestimate anyone because of what happened to them.
Not. And Paddy Clifford, his David Clifford's brother, that was great to see. It's his older brother.
Older brother, yeah.
He's 2 years older than him. So that was nice to see. I seen an interview that David did, I think it was back last year, and the way he speaks about him, he said that he never got his chance. And he was always sort of left to the side and a bit underrated, and he's like, finally they're opening their eyes and giving him this chance now. I just thought the two of them linked up well. They knew each of them were going. You know, they played well up front.
But I think you're dead right about Paddy. He's going to make a big difference to this Kerry setup.
It looked like he's a bit more of a, he can shoot, he can score, but he sort of pulls back.
He has a bigger work rate than a lot of them as well, and he's able to pick and choose when he goes in support of the full forward line, and he scored 1-3, was it the other day? 1-2 or 1-3, but he could have come out with 3-5. Do you know? So he has bits and pieces to work on as well. But that's his first competitive game.
Isn't that mad? How he hasn't featured till now?
I know. And what age is it?
So I'd say he's around 25. Dave's 22, isn't he? So 25. You would have thought he would have probably featured by now, sort of thing. I think he was on the panel last year, wasn't it?
But she's the some forward line.
They do.
When you take in that Killian Spillane and like to have Paul Ganey out wing forward now, there's not too many other teams in the country that wouldn't have Paul Ganey in.
Yeah, I know. And they're saying that Stephen O'Brien, and I know James Arundel might be stepping up, but them Egglat weren't even on the panel or come on. So listen, it's just Dublin and Kerry. Like you want to see it, like fucking
but
forget.
But the big thing for me is that the amount of possession that Kerry got in the midfield and the half-forward line, and there wasn't a Galway man in sight.
No.
It just...
They were very poor. I
know that they want to go a bit more offensive than Kevin Walsh was, but jeez, you have to have someone back at some stage.
Yeah, no, they were. I can't, but Shane Walsh and Ferris did score one wonder point of his left boot, good bit out, like it was sick enough now, like he kept being hassling Harry, then one chance that he's an exceptional talent to watch. Like
he looked injured, looked like he was
carrying a bit. He's one of them naturally you'd pay to see him alone, kind of a Dermot Conley type of player where you just watch him, that kind of way. Like.
Absolutely.
But moving on then, you had Dublin yesterday. You had Donegal actually, Donegal.
And Tyrone,
And Tyrone.
16 points to 18 points.
Tyrone got a man sent off. A little bit harsh, I thought. Just left in a hand, and I thought that... I know that Ryan McHugh was a fantastic footballer, but I thought he made the most of the belt that he got, because you'd be very annoyed if you're managing them and you got a second yellow for that, to be honest.
I know, and I think that was the game-changing moment, wasn't it? Like, that didn't happen. I don't know now if Donegal would have come away with the win.
But Michael Murphy, what?
I know.
Is he the most consistent footballer for the last 10 years?
I was doing one of those fantasy football, you pick your lead team for the league, and I didn't put Michael Murphy in it, and I'm actually embarrassed to say it, but I didn't put him in because I thought, league, he's getting a bit older, he might feature as much, they might hold him out now for the championship, he might feature in every game, the way obviously the fantasy football works. Oh my God! Yesterday he was just something else.
Yeah, he's. I'll tell you what. I know people know, but he is a genuine gentleman. And I'll give you a story of how it sums up. So I done a gig for Glen Swilly a few years ago, his club, and big crowd out, but Michael wasn't there, and I was like, I thought he might have came, but Donegal were playing the following weekend. But didn't he get me a number and text me the following morning and said, Harry, Rory, heard last night, it was great crack, are you around at all? And I said, yeah, grand. So made it his business to meet me. We went off for a coffee and a good hour and a half chat in some coffee shop in Letterkenny, the most timid man talking, but he'd kill you, on the pitch. Yeah. But what struck me about him was obviously everyone knew him, no matter who he walked by, but he just had time for everyone, and he is the real deal, the kind of way. He's obviously an unbelievable footballer, but he's a great skin as well,
I just saw something today on Twitter, and he did an interview yesterday after the match.
Yeah.
And a young fella from Tyrone just walked up to him, full kid out in a tracksuit, Tyrone top and everything, and asked him for his gloves, and couldn't have given it to him any quicker. Instead, for a photo and a couple of minutes chatting to the young fella,
No, he is. He's just creme of the creme. He's obviously, football goes without saying, but just as a person, that was my experience of him. Lovely fella.
Yeah, I actually did one of my first interviews I was going out to games for off the ball at the time, but it was only my first one really, and I was mad nervous, and I remember I had to go down to like the bus where they're getting on, they're coming out of the change rooms, getting on the bus, and all the reporters are like, you know, rushed around. And I'm like, oh God, do I go in? Do I just throw my mic in? What do you do? What do you do? And he was coming out of the change room and was like, do you want an interview? And I was like, yeah. Like, you know, I was a bit not confident enough in sort of seeing what I was like. And I was like, got the interview and I was like, Jesus, I just interviewed Michael Murphy. You know, but he really seen that I was struggling and was like, yeah, came over and did it. So yeah, no, lovely lad.
I wouldn't know.
Absolutely.
I know a couple of lads from Westmeath are very friendly with me now and then. Would always he's the gentleman.
But going back to like football, like you're right though, he's definitely in the last 10 years everyone's top 5, wouldn't he be like? If you were to pick a top 5, which isn't easy, you have to have Michael Murphy in there, like, because he
an all-rounder.
Just comes out when you need a ball, he comes out to midfield, he wins it. When you need a tackle, he put it in. When you need a score, he'll do it. Like,
he can do everything.
Again, if you ever want to epitomise laying down a marker, the 2012 All-Ireland final, it's the definition. If you ever want to show young lads or girls or anyone about playing football, just say, watch this. It was all planned. You know, get out to the wing, that lovely crossing ball, grab the sheer aggression, get out of my way, root for the net. Like, you could not have a more inspirational start to a final, like, you know. And he's done that on numerous occasions for Donegal. Whenever they need him, he's the hand in the air. Like, he's just
They're down, he's the one.
Pure legend. Like.
He steps, the mark of a brilliant player is to step up to the plate whenever they're
matters,
and he always does.
He always does, no, he's class. Like.
Dublin, good win over Roscommon. Cormac Costello scored, 112 or 113?
113.
And missed 2 penalties.
Oh, jeez, he did,
yeah.
And this is a fella that
still is not getting on the 15.
Dublin 15. Like.
I always find that shocking the last few years. I could never understand it. I know Dublin are unbelievable and they probably do have 30, 40 players, but I still think he's in 15.
But we'll put you on the spot then. You pick Tom in then. Say All Ireland final.
Do your drop?
Yeah. Like,
oh God,
come on now, put your mouth where your money is.
I know.
Money where your mouth is even.
I know.
Come on.
I know. Oh jeez, I can't.
I think it has to be a straight swap with Dean, but
I was gonna say
Dean is kind of more. He is more proven, and he's like.
Well, Paul Mannion's gone
in the game.
Yeah, is Mangan gone?
Mannion's gone. He's gone from the panel this year, so there probably is a spot there for him now. But Paul Mannion didn't start the All-Ireland final last year, sure he didn't.
I'm trying to think of who. So it's O'Callaghan, Scully, Kilkenny, Dean Rock. Was Brian Freeze, class act.
No, Sean Bugler.
Wing forward
Sean
from
Raheny.
Wing forward from Raheny just caught me off the.
Brian Howard,
he would have been
there.
No,
he came on as a sub at half time midfield. No.
I thought he started,
Yeah.
So who?
Because their team has changed so much even last year. Like
they just have so many good
the conveyor belt. They just sprinkle in an absolute class act out of nowhere. Oh, like remember they were saying we'll never replace Alan Brogan, boom, Kieran Kilkenny. We'll never replace Paul Flynn, boom, Howard. Like it's just
last year, same thing.
You know, they just Here's this pissed off Mead people sitting there going, I genuinely thought we would not beat them in the Leinster final, but I was
Rory.
I talked myself up in my head like
I think.
My wife is a dub like, and she's sick of me like thinking like all this in my head. And I remember like, you know, I was delighted with the performance that Mead playing against Dublin in Parnell Park. They showed great grit. They dogged it into Dublin. Dublin didn't really like that. What did Mead do? They basically awoke a beast like, and Dublin went out with full attention on Mead and putting in a performance and I remember the score. What was it, 2-something to 2 points at half time, 2-10 or something. Oh my God, it was. And I live on a road full of dubs, even though I live in Ashburn. And there was loads of young lads knick-knacking on the door. Come on, Dublin! I was like, God, go away with you.
Pull down the blinds.
Pull down the blinds. If you want to throw that knee jersey, Rory, I haven't been here. I'm like, oh, just go away.
And it hurts, doesn't it?
Especially when you're in Ashburn, like I'd be like, check your post. You're from Ashburn, County Meath.
Yeah. The only thing we can say.
Yeah. It's like retiring Ashburn. It's just.
Same.
Yeah, if we do well, spot the knee jerseys at this stage.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Even if you go to the club or anything, there's a big game on. It's full of Dublin jerseys.
But see, young people just want, like, I actually went out to the road there actually on a week ago, young lads kicking on. I said, lads, does any of you here support Mead? No. I used to Rory, and why don't you? Because I realised they were shy. I was like, oh,
Well, he's from Mead.
He's a Mead man. I said, but do you understand? It's from where you're from, like, do you know what I mean? It's but it's like preaching to when I was young at Man United. Like, they don't look at the whole county or parish. It's just Dublin are brilliant to watch. My dad is a Dub, and my mum's a Dub, and I'm a supporter of Dublin. Do you know what I mean? It's not.
It's where your parents are from has a big impact.
Well, like Brian Menton would be like captain of the Mead team for the last few years, and like half the young lads in Ashburn wouldn't have a clue who he is. Like,
serious.
You know what I mean? Where if you know, when I was growing up, if Trevor Giles and them come into Ashburn, it was like, oh my God, there's Trevor Giles. I remember he came into school and it was like, oh my God, there's Trevor Giles. But that's what happens when you're at the top of the game. You know what I mean? It's like every Dublin player now is pretty much a household name, the main lads, where the Dublin team back in the mid-noughties that you would have played against, they'd walk into any pub and you might know Kieran Whelan or Alan Rogan, that's it then, you know?
It's just whoever's successful, kids will know who they are.
Exactly, that's what it's all about at the end of the day, like, but now we're getting there, we bet Westmeath,
let's bring up that point, but wasn't it? Your watch, not time to go.
Yes, is it nearly over? No, listen. We started through the way, didn't we?
I have to say now, it was Westmeath for the taking. Like he didn't put on the
he didn't play well.
I think Westmeath had 5 scores and Meath had 12.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Maybe that's the thing. Westmeath just don't have enough scoring power.
Well, what did Heslin get out of that?
He got 7, 5 frees, 2 from play. He played very well. But listen, we're rebuilding. No more than Meath are probably rebuilding as well. Let's be fair about it. But I know people are saying about Dublin, let's split Dublin in 2, but sure, that's ridiculous. They've only scraped across 3 All-Ireland finals where they won 3 of them by a point. Drew another 2 or 3 with Mayo and Kerry. Like, how could you split a county in 2?
I know, but see, the problem is getting them to that level. There's only literally 2 or 3 teams that can push Dublin. And like, you know, Dublin are here, and then you have the 2 or 3 teams here, but then the gap is here, like. Like the Leinster Championship, like.
This is what I was going to say. Leinster is probably where you need to look. The provinces.
Yeah, like. And
there's no hope every year.
No, it's not even a bitter Mead man or anything like that. Like, I have no more respect for that Dublin team. I think they're the best I've ever seen. But it's just from a GAA man's point of view, watching, like, Leinster Championship. Unless you took the dubs out, which obviously you can't, then it's a savage competitive. Anyone could win it, like. And there'd be a buzz, but the Dublin supporters are telling themselves now that, like, you know,
for them, it wouldn't be exciting.
No, it's very hard for any county team, like the Kildares, the Laois, the Louth, Westmeath, Meath. It's very hard for you to go into a competition knowing you have no chance to win.
Those lads going out doing all that training, like, it's so intense, and to know that even a provincial title is pretty tough now to be getting.
You do the maths on the average amount that Dublin have won Leinster Championship matches by in the last 6 years. I'd say it'd blow up a calculator. Like, you know, like, kind of way, like you can only imagine, like. So, like, but again, like, I'm not one of, like, you split them up, like. I know you can talk about money, but at the end of the day, what about the money? Dublin went in and concentrated on the grassroots back 10, 15 years ago. I had a good friend that was doing it for Fingallians, and he came at me and says, Rory, you won't believe what Dublin are at. I mean, he says, we've a coach in every single club in Dublin, and we had Dudley Farrell and Christine around Meath. That's all we had. And Dudley was trying to cover the whole county and get where a legend, like, I love Dudley, like, but like they were covering the whole of Meath, where like Dublin were able to get one in each club. And what happens then naturally is more time spent on the basic skills. You look at that Dublin team now; they can all kick the ball comfortably with both feet. They can all hand pass comfortably. They can all vision kick. All the basic skills comes from underage coaching, like where they're able to say, Alan, kick with your left, kick with your right, kick with your left, kick with your right. So fair play to them in a way, like, you know, like
absolutely. You know, like Limerick as well. We talked about it last week with the hurling. That's the exact same thing that happened there.
Now money does breed success, but you still have to have the
commitment,
and you have to have the players that are like, you just don't, like, there's some players in any club that you're not going to turn them into an inter-county player, no matter if you spend 2 million on him, you know, him or her. So, like, they put in the work, they're reaping the rewards. But you can guarantee that 5-10 years time, Dublin will fall back into the pack again, and guaranteed. We can guarantee.
For the game, we need it. Like,
I just don't like the way. Did you say 5 or 6 years?
Yeah, I'm sorry, no, Rory. You might have to
go for the 11 All-Ireland final in a row and in attendance in front of 400 people. Everyone else is...
even less.
Yeah, so...
Anyway, we'll move on. We'll move on to Galway beating Limerick in the hurling.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Like, first time in
2 years,
nearly 2 years that Limerick have been beaten. Like, but we played, I was saying with Westmeath, we played Galway last week. These are serious outfit. These are serious outfit. And that was without Joe and Pádraig Mangan against us and David Burke. These lads all still have to come back into the team. I know two of them were playing yesterday.
Last year, do you think? Because they were very disappointing last year, weren't they?
Well, they weren't really.
Well, it wasn't.
They were well in the game against Limerick in the semi-final. Joe got injured, went off with 10 or 15 minutes to go. Colin Mannion, who went off injured in the first half. Like, if you lose two, like if Dublin lose Kieran Kilkenny and Brian Fenton, they might struggle to get across some teams.
Yeah.
You know, you lose two big players like that in an All-Ireland semi-final, it's very hard to get. And they still nearly got across the line. Well, Limerick only won by a couple of points.
Actually, yeah.
So
psychologically, that can throw a team.
I think that this Galway team could win the All-Ireland this year.
Oh, put it out there.
What impressed you? Like, what was the difference between? Was it just all around the pace? Like
their physicality, their size, their stick work.
Yeah.
These are massive. Now, we haven't played Limerick or Tip yet now, and I could come back to you the week after this and say, oh, these Galway lads were small.
Yeah.
But their physicality.
Physically, they're definitely the biggest team.
Yeah.
I think I've seen them in person. I done a gig from before the All Ireland final in 18, and I couldn't get over the sheer size of the men. Like, Galway. I couldn't get over how big they were. Like, proper, like 6'2" all across the board. Like. And I was thinking, how's anyone going to win a puck out with these boys around? Like, you know, and they're all like big, well-built lads. Like, I know, like, hurling isn't all about strength, but I just found them such a fucking monster of a team. Like,
oh, they're unbelievable. Like, and we have a couple of big men playing for Westmeath, and they just didn't look big playing standing behind these lads because they're just like, I think something like they won 84% of breaking ball or something like that against us.
Wow.
Like that's hunger, like really.
Like that's hunger.
Like.
But it's all about getting your body in. Like,
yeah.
If you have a lad 5'9" going in for a breaking ball with a lad 6'4",
yeah,
and the two of them are going fully committed, you know who's going to come out best.
Yeah.
And it was great to see Joe back as well.
Yeah, scored a magnificent point and set up another couple and scored a free from inside his own 45. Like,
he's a nice golfer, Joe, actually. Speaking of golf, he's a nice golfer. Yeah, he's a lefty.
Yeah.
But sure, like,
do you think we're hurling? Yeah. You're going
he drives the ball an absolute mile, like, you know, kind of way. Maybe not as far as this fella knows. This fella knows how to take the paint off.
What is sitting there like?
Yeah, he's like takes the paint off a golf ball. But no, he's a very good golfer. So he just has, it's just a natural rhythm, like, you know. But you know, he's like just the Rolls Royce as well. They talk about the Cliffords and all. Joe with a hurl in his hand is just class to look at.
Like his longevity as well. It's the 14th season playing for.
What age is he now?
He's 31, I think.
Would he be down?
30 or 31? 32, is he?
So he still has
Jesus,
2 or 3 there, like, you know, and like another year toward the 20-minute man after that, you know, to come in and just get a score. Like.
He's been the most consistent hurler probably in Westmeath in Ireland. Him along with TJ Reid over the last 10 or 12 years.
2 serious operators, like.
Another game, we'll give a mention to the Monaghan and Armagh game.
Oh jeez, yeah.
Yeah, because
good
it was
win.
Kieran Donaghy's
Yeah, seen him up in the stand there. Yeah, I actually watched most of that game. Armagh were good, like, you know. The Usheen's, the nephews were impressive. The 13, I think Rian was midfield, one was 13. Both. Who's the lads kicking the frees? Was that Rian 13?
Yeah.
Very good. And your man showed well as well, Stephen Campbell, I thought.
Yeah.
He's a unit too.
Yeah, a bit of pace to him. He looks like he's a bit fitter maybe than he was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's around a while as well.
Yeah.
I didn't think I thought maybe the years were coming on him last year when we seen him. But God,
a bit of pace to him. Yeah, head down and gone and over the bar. Like, so.
And on the block, Rory, who'll win the All Ireland?
In the football?
Yeah.
Oh, Kerry. I'm not just saying that, but I do think that
would be amazing.
I don't. I'm not.
Is a Meath man ever going to say Dublin?
No,
listen.
It's not like it's an outrageous. Like I'm not going to sit here and say Meath will win the All Ireland. Kind of way. But I just think if you weigh it up, to Kerry hunger and that slip up last year and Dublin, like I know they're machines now, but eventually, like they have to like. blink, like, you know, and the Kerry are the team to make them blink, because I'm just looking at the backs. Philly McMahon's that bit older. Johnny Cooper is that bit, like, you know, when you have Clifford in his absolute prime, like, you know, coming at you, like, in Croke Park and open space, like, and you seen Cooper got sent off for pulling and dragging over him a couple of years ago. So that's why I picked him. I just think when it comes down to, they have to have more hunger. Because talent is very similar, like, pound for pound. Dublin probably shade is small, but there's not much. But after that has to be just Kerry wanting to win All Ireland, like, so.
And what happened to them last year against Cork? That could be a blessing in disguise. You know, you learn so much from that.
Yeah.
Like we seen them yesterday. We'll see as time goes on. It's only one game, but that could have been the difference. This hunger and fight of, no, we're not letting that happen again.
They looked hungry on Saturday. My God.
Yeah. So listen, Dublin should, if you get me, but I just genuinely think Kerry is. They have too much talent now to let another year go by, like, you know, so.
Yeah. Onto the hurling then, we had a big clash between Wexford and Clare, where you had Davy coming up against Brian Lohan.
He just about got over the line.
Clare were 9 points up, 8 or 9 points up at one stage, and geez, Wexford just leech in. Rory O'Connor really took over for the last 15 minutes and get Davy over the line. But
Leaching that serious goal, didn't he? Just pulled on it along the round.
Yeah, but you might not watch the match, but one of the most exciting hurlers in Ireland at the minute is Rory O'Connor, the wing forward for Wexford. Jeez, he's so direct. He just gets the ball and says, right, goal on here, let's go. And like, he scored a winning free as well. This leg could be very, very good. Now he is very, very good.
He's known enough. Like, it's not like he's under the radar. He'd be a key enough man. Like, but you're right. That was a big one for David. Like, you know yourself. Like, it was one of them. It's kind of championship for him. Like, he wanted to.
Yes, clear.
Yeah, he would. Like,
it's an awkward one too, though. You're after managing this team to win All Ireland. You're coming up against them in the league down in Ennis as well, and
your own county. Yeah, you can see it in him when he did.
I wouldn't like it now. I wouldn't like going managing another inter-county team against Westmeath in Cusack Park. Just taking off.
Tough.
I need to have a bit of manners here.
Oh yeah.
A bit of manners.
Because Davy and manners don't really go hand in hand.
He's just a winner, and that's the end of it. Like, you know, once the whistle blows, I don't care about anything. I'm here to do a job on my team, and if it means I have to be Clare and the home turf, I'll do it. Like, you know. And, but yeah, I know what you mean. It's awkward, like, do you know the kind of way, like.
Yeah. He's just so passionate, isn't he?
Yeah.
My God.
Moving on then to another sport, you have Leicester City.
Massive
winning
win,
the FA Cup for the first time ever.
Brendan Rodgers.
Isn't it Brendan Rodgers, and isn't it an unbelievable that with the tragedy that happened a couple of years ago with the owner crashing the helicopter outside, and then for them to go on, like, I watched the celebrations and you saw the owner coming out onto the field and all the players going over and hugging him, and then you look at I'm not saying Leicester City are a big club, but then you look at the massive clubs around the world, and sure, imagine the Glaziers going out onto the pitch and someone killed them. Imagine John Henry going out on, you wouldn't see him, you didn't even see him after Liverpool won the league for the first time in years last year. Just, it was nice to see a club like that winning and seeing putting a face to the owners of the club, wasn't it?
It's just amazing that a lot of them players have a double, like they have a Premier League and an FA Cup in their back pockets. Like.
Where they came from regular jobs, a lot of them, like, you know. Unreal. Yeah, brilliant to see. And we seen Liverpool as well. Were you happy about that?
No, wasn't one bit happy about it.
Straight on to that.
There's no point in lying about it. I nearly got sick when the goal went in.
The wonder goal.
Oh, what a goal.
Some goal, in fairness. And he had...
He spoke very well after.
He had a tragedy in life about his dad, and he couldn't go home for the funeral.
That was awful, He spoke so well.
Yeah, there's a big lockdown in Brazil.
And come here, what way does that leave Liverpool now with top four?
If Liverpool win all their games, there are 3 games left, 2 or 3 games left. If they win them,
it's in their own hands.
It's in their own hands
that was
now,
massive then,
Once they beat Man United last week, they won 4-2. Once they beat United, it was all in their own hands.
Yeah,
it was just, I think it was refreshing to see Harrison. He just spoke just like normal lad, just like let his raw emotion come out. Sometimes with soccer players and that's really sort of staged in a way.
And they're told what to say.
They're told and they're media trained and they just hold back, and he was just himself, and obviously it was a massive moment for him, and everything he'd been through as well. But he just was himself, and I was like, my God, it's actually so nice.
Yeah, refreshing.
Isn't
It
it?
is refreshing.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're dead right. Like.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you see City winning the league, Leicester have 2 evens. There's some amount of Liverpool fans around.
Oh,
It's just unbelievable.
Who are you?
United, but like,
Plenty of United fans around as well.
United since Lee Martin scored the winner in the FA Cup in 1990. So
you're proper
they
old
weren't
school.
winning leagues back then, let me tell you. But like City win the league, they're by far the best team, and they'd probably win the Champions League as well.
You reckon, yeah?
Yeah, I can't see
Said they
Chelsea.
will,
Chelsea
yeah.
are poor.
Mm-hmm.
Where is that going to be played actually?
It's actually in Porto.
Oh, yeah.
It was supposed to be in Istanbul, but because of maybe troubles in COVID or whatever, it's changed. It's in Porto now. So the last thing I have to bring up is Kieran Reid, the New Zealand rugby player, retired.
Oh yeah,
from
big one for
rugby
you.
at the weekend.
Oh, did he? Yeah.
127 caps.
Wow.
52 as captain. World Player of the Year.
Yeah, massive.
You're sort of looking at me as if to say, why,
No, well,
why are you bringing this
you're
up?
the rugby man, so I let you.
Would he
on
be the
say
best
it.
number 8 of all time, do you think?
Oh, absolutely.
Easily,
Well,
like,
him and Zinzan Brook from New Zealand as well from years ago. And then you've...
I'd have to give your man a shout, the legendary Italian number 8. What's his name? It escapes me at the minute. The main man for Italy for all them Six Nations, number 8. What was his name?
Yeah, the shaved headed lad like
The shaved headed lad, yeah. Nice haircut like myself.
Oh, jeez, what's his name?
It's by him. I always found him outrageously good, and no matter what happened, like he showed up all the time. And I know, like he's not in Reid's bracket, but well, maybe as pound for pound he is, but just not with the team around him, like.
He was class.
Yeah.
Like if they were allowed into the line squad, he would have been on 4 line squads in a row. wouldn't he?
Exactly, number 8 all the time, like.
Unreal, and will we go on and do our little game, our question before the end?
Let's move on. We've a little bit of a game here, Rory.
I'll kick it
tell you
off.
the rules down in a minute.
Well,
I've written down my answers. I hope you have.
Okay, well, I'll
You
just
cheat.
No, we'll
again.
just get it as I go. Sure, it's only a question, really. It's not like a major game. So, Meader in the All Ireland final. You have 4 players, and it's only 3 spots you have left.
I don't know what you mean by you cheat.
What do you mean? Me not going to be on that island, Alexa? Is that what it was?
Don't say that, but
This watch getting geared.
Yeah.
So you have 4 players, and you've only 3 spots left on the team. So you have Bernard Flynn, Graham Geraghty, Trevor Giles, and Ollie Murphy. Who do you drop out of the 4? So Bernard Flynn,
Think about
Graham Geraghty, Trevor Giles, and
who
Ollie
you're
Murphy.
going to meet in the next year or so.
Yeah, like even though I love him and he destroyed us in club championship on one leg in 2007, but it'd have to be Ollie Murphy. Like the other 3, I think are just like Ollie, like
That's who I had, eh?
like listen, Giles and Geraghty without question are there. Like they're there, and Bernard like. It's only the Loughra game. It really kind of showcased how good he was. Like, and for me, like Ollie Murphy might have had a better brain, but you can't beat pace. Like when you're a corner forward, like you know, and he had it like unreal. So yeah, unfortunately. Ollie Murphy, he has no hair and we don't care. Ollie Murphy, that's what we used to chant up.
Bernard Flynn played for Mullingar Shamrock.
That's right,
for years, and we were lucky enough that Cusack Park was closed at the time, and all the county finals were played in Castamgagan, where I'm from. And I used to go down and stand behind goals and watch Bernard Flynn, and there was another corner forward for Mullingar called Mickey Riley, who could have played for Westmeath for years but never wanted it. Didn't want to play county football, just play club. And the 2 of them were just unbelievable.
Yeah, I seen the highlights they had on that programme.
They played Screen in a Leinster Club Championship in Castan then about 3 weeks after they won the championship, and Trevor Giles was playing for Screen, and it was just like watching royalty on the pitch the whole lot.
Yeah.
It was just phenomenal. Like Flynn was just
something
class.
Yeah, he's such a live wire. But for me in that, like Giles would be my favourite like of all time. Like I remember even playing against him when I first started playing adult football, and even just you need to be in awe of him. Like you know, you want to go in and nail him, but there's that kind of respect. There's like
You don't want to hurt him.
he's just such a legend. Like you know, you're still looking at him as a young lad. Like you know that kind of way, but. again, like Michael Murphy, Trevor Giles is the nicest man you would ever meet. Like he's
lovely,
so unassuming, and yeah, he's just a legend. Like, but so unfortunately, Ollie will be.
Well, mine was Ollie too. But I remember my first Meath game in Croke Park. My dad brought me in, and we were sitting up like high up in literally the bleachers. We were right at the back, on the Hogan stand side. You know, like right up the very very top. And I didn't know what was going on really. And I remember Ollie Murphy came off the bench, and I'll never forget the roar of the whole stadium for Ollie Murphy. And I was like, Dad, who's that? And he's like, Ollie Murphy. And I was like, Ollie Murphy. Then I went like to school, and I was like, Ollie Murphy is my favourite player. It's the only name I knew.
Yeah.
But so it killed me even to say that. But yeah, I would have said Ollie
You're
Murphy as well.
certainly Ollie Murphy now.
Yeah, we all
I know.
are.
Well, you have to throw it in there. Ollie is an unreal footballer, but he's just you're grabbing me by the throat with that question.
Yeah, he broke Westmeath's hearts twice in 2001.
Oh.
We were miles ahead one day, and he scored a goal to bring them back at a draw, and then a week later did the same thing again to beat us. Oh, it was just.
It hurts.
Oh,
Yeah,
but anyway, he was bad.
We've one more question, and then we're nearly done then, aren't we? So the next one is, you have 4 people that you're having a dinner party. There's 4 people that want to come, but you only have 3 places. So you have Katie Taylor, Sean Boylan, Paul O'Connell, and Shane Lowry. So who's not coming out of them 4?
Oh, jeez, I thought you had me by the throat in the first question. Oh my
So
God.
Katie Taylor, Sean Boylan, Paul O'Connell, and Shane Lowry.
To be honest with you, because I know him well and I've met him, like I'd probably leave Sean Boylan out because
Rory.
no, only because I chatted to him plenty where I'd never be in Katie Taylor's company. I've been in Shane's company a few times. Like I know he's great crack, and Paul O'Connell is an idol of mine. Like since I was a young fella, like so he's definitely. So I just have to.
Because you met him a load of times.
Just be only because of that. Like I know Sean, and Sean's like, listen, Sean. Like, but just if I was asked genuinely, because the other 3, like you can't get every day of the week where I could ring Sean and meet him for coffee next week.
True.
Like,
yeah.
So I'd have to unfortunately leave Sean in the takeaway and bring the other 3 to the dinner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who did you say?
I would have out of them. I would have said Paul O'Connell, even though I would have loved to meet Paul O'Connell and love to pick his brain and chat with him. But the other 3 for me, probably the sports that I love, and Katie Taylor would be my number 1.
I left out Paul O'Connell as well.
Did you?
Yeah, I just thought that Katie at the minute, she's
Oh,
just a star at the minute. And I thought that you'd just stick with the meat end of things and bring Sean.
Yeah, I know.
And we all know the Shane Lowry's great crack.
Yeah. I hope if Sean's listening, I apologise. Yeah. But just Katie Taylor to just pick her brain and the other 2 just for. I could say Paul O'Connor's good crack like as well as everyone else, and sure Lowry's definitely good crack.
Lowry.
Just give him a few large bottle bombers and
we just have a couple of fans questions.
We had loads of questions that come in and we never even got to them, so we're sorry about that, but we will get through a few of them if that's okay.
Yeah.
So the first one that came in was, I'm not sure, Rory, if you understand the enjoyment I get out of your sketches. It breaks up a long work day. My question to you is, do you think hurling has become too stop-start? And what rule would you like to see come back in to hurling?
Something we spoke about before we went on air about the new rule now. What were you saying about there was...
I was saying that at the minute, if a forward is going through, there's no advantage rule anymore in defence. If you're fouled, there's no advantage rule, whistle's blown straight away, so it stops the game. And then in terms of forward play, there is an advantage rule if you're in a goal scoring position. But if you're dragged down or pulled down or a loose hurl hits you in the head or erratic use of the hurl, let's say.
Which is very common on the hurl.
Yeah.
Erratic use.
Then it's you're after giving away a penalty. Once it's inside the 21 or inside the D, you're giving away a penalty and you're sin bin for 10 minutes.
Yeah, so 2 actions.
Now I feel sorry for the referees in this regard. I know it's your question, but I feel sorry because the refs are just given the rules and they have to try and implement them. But this is a ridiculous rule.
Yeah, no, that you answered me question. Sorry to that. What was the name?
Roddy from Tipperary.
Roddy. Sorry. Yeah. No, that basically what I said. I'd agree with, and especially that advantage rule. Like you can't be at that. Like
no,
you have to let them off. Like if they're gone. Like you know, kind of. It's just slow. Everything is about slowing down the game, and it browns people off watching it. Like it's like. especially hurling, like football we've accepted now has gone fairly stopped, but hurling still has the flair, and if you take the flair out of hurling, it's crap, like, do you know the kind of way? So we can't, it's the best game even though I'm more football man, it's the best game in the world, like, do you know, to watch, so we can't lose that identity. It has to be, you know, skin flying or hair flying, whatever, it just has to be.
That's it, like, I know to get to questions, but even John Kiley at the weekend, he was saying, I don't know what we're expected to do anymore. He's like, I genuinely don't know.
Hard to train for, like,
there's so many different rules. He's like, has something happened here that I actually haven't been told, because I'm not sure what we're doing wrong. It's like as if the tackle has gone out of the game. That's the best part about hurling. Seeing them get really stuck in.
We had I'm not going to name him now, but we had an in-house game when we had one of the top referees down to referee it, and he basically gave us the rules, but he just said everyone's going to interpret them their own way, and unfortunately he says a lot of them are going to be hard to interpret.
So that's the problem,
but it's I sort of feel sorry for them because it's just ridiculous.
It is, and they're just going to get the flack of it and the abuse of it.
And
because
then the lads making up these rules and putting in these new rules are lads that might never have played the match before.
I don't know why they always have to fix something when it's like
leave it
broken.
Your wedding shows are great crack. How much have you missed performing at them? And that's Lisa in Athlone.
Yeah, the weddings. Yeah, I haven't done a wedding since late 2000. And when did COVID kick in? Was it
2020.
So yeah,
we all don't know.
It's like, when was normal? So I haven't done a wedding since 2019, really. Yeah. So listen, I definitely enjoyed them because it's just something different at a wedding, just to kind of go in and, you know, Irish people love slagging each other, like, and that was my job. I get a bit of info on people in the room, and I tear the lumps out, and then I go off and let them slag each other for the night. So yeah, it was definitely enjoyable. So we'll have to wait and see what happens now in the next few months anyway.
Yeah. Hey Rory, I'm in my late 20s. I'm still unsure what I want to do with my life. I dropped out of college, of course, as it wasn't for me, and I'm just working in a local shop, but it's not what I want to do for much longer. Any advice? That's Mark and Galway.
Yeah, listen, it's a hard question, but I suppose, you know, just sit down with a pen and paper and write down 5 things that you'd like to do and start at the top, like, because for me, like, I enjoy making videos and I enjoy, you know, books and I enjoy stage and all that, but like I was a useless electrician, beyond useless. Like I literally spelled electrician wrong in my FOSS forms. But sure, how could I even wire with these Mars bar fingers? Imagine me now, little bit of cable. I was beyond deplorable. Like I remember I come back from FOSS and my manager says, Rory, how would you get on? I says, yeah, a bit of crack. He says, well, your results are back and it was 8 modules and you passed 1, he says to me. And I said, jeez, and he goes, we've never had anyone that's only ever passed 1, Rory. What were you doing there? And I looked at him and I says, I'm actually happy enough to 1, to be honest with you. I said to him, jeez, I'm actually kind of fucking... which one was that, if you don't mind me asking? He says, it was your attendance, Rory. And I was like, yeah, she show up the fast and you get paid. And anyway, I got sacked. And then I went on to work in Quinn Direct Insurance. And anyone who knows me that worked in Quinn Direct Insurance, it cost them more money than I brought in, like by just deleting emails from solicitors because I hadn't a clue what anyone was talking about. And I got let go there. And then I went to another job and I was useless at that job. And then eventually I found this. So basically just keep her lit is what I'm saying, is like just keep trying. And the number one message is don't be afraid to fail. Like a lot of people are afraid to try something in case it doesn't go well and people laugh at them. Mm-hmm. Get that out of your head, like, you know, just you'll know, just decide, keep working, and eventually you'll find something that you don't feel sick going to in the morning, because I know that feeling on the bus into here. Not too far from here I used to work in my last job and feeling physically sick going in because I hated the job. Because I didn't understand the job, do you know what I mean? Like I just wasn't good in school, and this was like double Dutch to me, like, and my kind of personality got me through it by just letting on. I knew what I was at, but I hadn't a clue, like, and that's all self-confidence, etc. So, yeah, but again, the bottom line is don't be afraid to try new things, like, until once, and when you do find out what you really like, just work hard, like, you know, simple enough, like.
Absolutely. Do you have any regrets in life? That's a tough one.
Jesus, is it past 9 o'clock? Is it? Listen. I've loads of regrets. But like Frank Sinatra says, but then again too, man. Like, listen, you have to make regrets, and no major stand out in my head. Like, you know, I'd make the odd video that I didn't feel was good enough and I'd just chance it and I'd go down shite and I'd be raging myself over that. Like, that's kind of just, I suppose, like topical stuff that I do at the minute. And yeah, I wish I had shaved my head earlier as well. That's the truth. I went around with these car parks for a long time and I thought everyone had to have hair and I just said, well, now I'm fucking shaving his head off, and it's the best thing I ever done. So anyone who is going bald, just bite the bullet.
But in that, like, you have to. Everyone has regrets.
Because it probably gets to where you're
just
meant
have
to be.
to get to.
You know, you have those maybe mistakes or things you mess with on or whatever. That's what I look at it. That if I didn't do that or if that didn't happen to me, I probably wouldn't have got to this point. Or whatever,
but like,
you know?
there's always a positive from a negative. Like, you know, like, and I read a great book called The Green Platform with Declan Coyle, and it's basically about constantly looking at the positive, like, which is a very important thing. So say if you're late for work and you hit a red light, you're like, fuck, another red light. Just stop for a moment and say, the reason that's red is because I would have got lashed out with 100 yards down the road with a car. Like, and I know at that moment in time you're fit to kill somebody. If you can just get into that mindset. Now, it doesn't work all the time. I got my mother to read the book because she's the typical Irish mother panicking all the time. Says, "Ma, read that book." And she read it, but she'd often say to me, "Oh, Rory, what about the green platform?" Well, I don't mind that fucking green platform. I'm fucking in the height of it here. Do you know, so it does work, but when you are in the height of it, like, and some bollocks doesn't indicate off around about, look on your indicator there. Do you know, try green platform, you know, but
Positive.
But that's it, just trying to be positive. But again, I know, like, when you're tired, you're hungry and you're wet, it's very hard to be positive.
You know, that frame of mind.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, yeah, I think that's all. We won't keep you much longer. There's a mountain of questions, but we might even give them to you after, and we can even put them up online.
Yeah, we might tweet them out a question that was asked, and you might just.
And
give
thanks
them
so much for everyone sending them in. We really appreciate it.
Rory, brilliant. Thanks a million.
Yeah, pleasure. Thanks for having me.
That was a great chat, and I'm sure we'll get out for a few rounds of golf now in the next few weeks with a bit of luck.
Any scramble, get Budda Mangan in. He's a shark on the golf course, so he's your boy, like,
But no, the man that owns this building is a man by Alan Clancy, and that's how I got to meet Rory.
9 Below,
Nine Below, and Alan's a great man, and unfortunately he had his mum passed away in the last couple of days, but no, we'll get back stronger than ever, and
absolutely,
and we'll have a few rounds of golf.
100%, bang on. Listen, thanks for having me. Cheers.
Thank you, Rory. Thanks, Budda, and thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you again this time next Monday. Good night.
Thanks, guys.